You just checked your phone for no reason. Again, you didn't decide to. Your hand just moved on its own, like it was answering a call nobody made. Somewhere behind that twitch is a system that's over 200,000 years old, and it never got the memo that the danger is gone. It thinks you're still in the grass, listening for something moving in the dark. You're not being anxious, you're being ancient. Your body is running software that was never updated. It was built for a world of lions and starvation and sudden death, and it is applying that same code to emails and traffic and unread messages. That sounds strange. It is stranger than you think, because the system running your body right now is not the one built for your life. It's the one built for a life that ended thousands of years ago, and nobody told it the project was finished. Start with the jolt. You know the one. A car honks, a shadow moves at the edge of your vision, someone shouts your name across a room, and before you even understand why, your heart is already pounding. That happens in under a fifth of a second. Your thinking brain hasn't even caught up yet. Something faster already made the call, and it made that call without asking you first. That something is the amygdala, a small almond-shaped cluster buried deep in the middle of your brain, and it does not wait for permission. Physiologist Walter Cannon first described this reaction back in 1915, naming it the fight-or-flight response. He noticed something odd while studying animals under threat. Every one of them did the same thing. Heart rate spikes, blood drains from the stomach and floods the muscles, breathing quickens. The whole body prepares to run or to fight, and it prepares in an instant, long before conscious thought arrives to explain what's happening. Here's the part that should unsettle you a little. This system cannot tell the difference between a lion and a Slack notification. Both trigger the exact same chemical alarm. Your ancestors needed that alarm to survive an actual predator crouched in the tall grass. You are using the same wiring to survive a passive-aggressive email from your manager. The system never got the update. Why would it? Evolution doesn't optimize for comfort. It optimizes for staying alive long enough to pass on your genes, and a body that overreacts to danger keeps you alive far more often than one that underreacts and hesitates. So you flinch at things that were never actually going to kill you. That is not weakness. That is 40,000 generations of ancestors who flinched first and asked questions later, because the ones who paused to think it over were, more often than not, the ones who got eaten. You are descended entirely from the flinchers. The calm, unbothered ones didn't get the chance to have children. Think about how this plays out in an average day. A notification buzzes and your whole body braces before you even glance at the screen. A coworker's tone shifts slightly on a call and your stomach tightens before you can name why. None of these moments involve real physical danger, but your body doesn't check for real danger first. It reacts, then it checks. That order was built for a world where checking first sometimes meant dying before you finished checking. Speed was survival. Accuracy came second. Now think about the second instinct, the quieter one, the one you barely notice because it never actually turns off. Stress that simply refuses to end. For a zebra, a lion sighting is an event. It lasts a few terrifying minutes. Then it's over and the zebra goes right back to grazing like nothing happened, its body fully reset. Neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky spent decades studying this exact contrast at Stanford, comparing wild animals to modern humans, and his conclusion was almost funny if it wasn't so exhausting to hear. Zebras don't get ulcers, he explained, because zebras don't lie awake at 3 in the morning replaying a conversation from 4 years ago. They don't rehearse arguments that never happened. They don't worry about a threat that might arrive next month. You do. Your ancient stress system was built for short, sharp bursts. A threat appears, your body mobilizes every resource it has, the threat passes, and your body resets back to baseline. That loop worked beautifully for 100,000 years, and it still works exactly the same way today. The problem isn't the system. The problem is what you're feeding it. You don't face lions anymore. You face a mortgage payment, a performance review that's still 2 weeks away, a message you sent that hasn't been answered. None of these end the way a lion encounter ends. There's no clean resolution, no moment of relief, no signal telling your body that it's safe now and the danger has passed.
So the alarm just stays on, quietly, sometimes for years. Your ancestors' short, sharp stress response, the very thing that kept them alive in the moment, has slowly become your long, dull hum of low-grade dread because you keep handing it threats with no clear ending. Isn't it strange that the exact system built to protect you has become the thing quietly wearing you down? And this isn't just a feeling. Sapolsky's research showed that chronically elevated stress hormones, the kind that never get a chance to fully drain away, actually change the body over time. Blood pressure creeps upward, immune function weakens, sleep gets shallower and less restorative. The body starts paying, slowly and quietly, for an alarm that was only ever supposed to ring for a few minutes at a time, not for years on end. Your ancestors' bodies never had to pay that bill because their stress always came with an ending attached. There's a third instinct, and this one is sneakier than the other two because it doesn't feel like survival at all. It feels like personality. It feels like who you are. It's your deep, almost desperate need to belong. 10,000 years ago, being kicked out of your group wasn't an inconvenience you'd shake off in a week. It was close to a death sentence. Alone, you couldn't hunt large, dangerous animals. You couldn't take turns keeping watch while the group slept. You couldn't share food during a lean season when the hunt came back empty. Being cast out meant facing the entire wilderness by yourself, with no backup and no safety net. Evolutionary psychiatrist Randolph Nesse has argued that many of the emotions we now casually label as disorders, things like social anxiety, were actually finely tuned adaptations, tools that once kept early humans from getting exiled from the group that kept them alive, the discomfort you feel right before speaking up in a meeting, the small sting of being left out of a group chat, the quiet panic of a message left unread. None of these are random glitches in your wiring. They're an old alarm whispering the same warning your ancestors heard around the fire thousands of generations ago. Don't get left behind. Don't get left out. Being alone used to mean dying alone, and your nervous system never forgot it. That's part of why rejection doesn't just feel emotional. It actually registers in the brain in ways that overlap with real physical pain. Your nervous system doesn't fully separate a bruised rib from a bruised ego, because for most of human history, both outcomes could genuinely kill you. Isolation from the group meant exposure to predators at night, exposure to starvation during hard seasons, exposure to every danger your tribe used to shield you from together. You can see this instinct playing out constantly, even in tiny, almost invisible ways. You post something online and then check back every few minutes, not really for the content, but for the reassurance that people are still there, still paying attention, still counting you as part of the group. You feel a small flash of relief when someone likes it, and a small flash of unease when nobody does. That isn't vanity. That's the same ancient mechanism that once told your ancestors whether the tribe still considered them one of its own. So 3 ancient instincts, still fully operational, still humming quietly under absolutely everything you do. The jolt that fires before your conscious thoughts even catch up. The stress response that never learned how to switch itself off. The hunger for belonging that once meant the literal difference between living and dying alone in the cold. None of these are flaws in you personally. They're inheritance. You are carrying a survival kit that was assembled by people who never saw a phone, never sat in traffic, never opened a laptop at midnight, and yet their kit is still the exact one running your body right now, in this exact moment. It just doesn't know the war it was built for is supposedly over. Here's the useful part, the part worth remembering. Once you recognize an alarm as old, you can stop obeying it as if it were breaking news. The jolt from your phone buzzing on the table is not a lion crouched in the grass. You can let that jolt pass through you without acting on it. The stress that refuses to switch off is not proof of a threat that needs solving in this exact second. It's a system waiting, uselessly, for a reset that modern life rarely offers on its own, which means giving yourself that reset on purpose, through real rest and real recovery, is something your ancestors got automatically and you now have to choose. And the ache of being left out isn't proof that something is wrong with you. It's proof that the system worked exactly as it was designed to, for a world that mostly doesn't exist anymore. None of this means you're broken, or overly sensitive, or somehow worse at handling modern life than everyone around you seems to be. It means you're carrying the same equipment they are, reacting to a world none of it was designed for. The friend who seems endlessly calm under pressure isn't running different software. They've just learned, consciously or not, how to work with the alarm instead of letting the alarm run the whole show. Your ancestors built the body you're living in to survive the open savanna, You're using that same body, unmodified, to survive a Tuesday, and somewhere between those two entirely different battles, your body just kept doing what it has always done. It kept you safe from something. Even long after that, something stopped being there. So the next time your hand reaches for your phone before your mind even asks it to, notice it. That's not a habit you picked up last year. That's history, moving through you, one flinch at a time.